and welcome to my channel. My name is Tiffy Starchild, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, thumbs up on this video, and you can even hit the notification bell, and that way you know every time I drop a video. I'm so excited! This is my very first mukbang, which if you don't know is basically me eating on camera. You can eat with me if you want to, and we can share this experience, or you can just watch me eat. I'm gonna drop maybe a story time, me just talking really. I don't know. It's my first time doing this, so I'm sure there are some things that I'm going to get wrong, but I'm just gonna jump into it anyway and try not to overthink. Oh, why do I always do this with my hands? What are we eating? Okay, so this over here is orange chicken, and it's nothing fancy. It's literally just the orange chicken that you can get from Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. So that's the orange chicken from Trader Joe's. You cook it by yourself at home, obviously. Maybe not obviously, because maybe it came already cooked and you didn't already know that, but you cook it, it's frozen, and then you cook it. But I always like to doctor up the sauce or add something to it. For this, the Chinese spot that's down the street from my house, they make a really awesome salt and pepper chicken wing. And so the little, actually I have it right over here. The garlic and onion spice thing that they have that goes with their salt and pepper chicken wing, you can just order it on the side, and so I added it to my orange chicken. So it's like salt and pepper orange chicken, maybe. That's what I'm gonna call it, salt and pepper orange chicken. Also from that Chinese spot are these amazing egg rolls. You guys are gonna see this table shake because like this is my first mukbang and I'm trying a setup and I'm learning the hard way that it's not really working, and my prayer is that this doesn't just collapse halfway through this video, so we'll see what happens. So if the table shakes, that's why. But also from that Chinese spot down the street from China Chef, I think is their name, they have these egg rolls which are amazing, and I found out like it's actually a family recipe that they've had for years and years and years and years, and they've never changed it, which is dope because they're so good. I love their egg rolls so much. What else do I have? From Trader Joe's, I also have these gyoza. These are pork gyoza. And then I had one more pack left after my giveaway of the spicy ramen noodles. So those have made a return, and I'm going to be eating those as well. I have some sauce. And the sauce that I have also from Trader Joe's is the gyoza dipping sauce. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour that in my cute little container. I love sauce so much. I'm like a sauce queen. I have to have sauce with everything that I eat. So I have that. I have some soy sauce. Someone in my house got rid of my Hello Kitty soy sauce container. I don't know why. I wouldn't get rid of their Hello Kitty soy sauce container, but mine is gone for whatever reason. That's fine. And then I also have sesame oil, which is so good. Why'd I put all these noodles in that little ass container? Why'd I even do that? I don't even know. And then I have a great big old gigantic thing of sweet and sour sauce to dip my egg rolls in. So we'll put that over here. I've been wanting to do a mukbang for a really long time. And I've been super nervous about it just because like I tend to be nervous about everything. So I'm just gonna jump right in and do it and eat this food and hope that it's delicious. It's delicious. I made it and like bought it from places that I already know are good, so I don't even know why I'm tripping. But yeah, let's see here and dive right in. Wait, what am I dipping this in? Nothing. And I have garlic sauce. You can't even see it. It's garlic sauce from Trader Joe's. I really love Trader Joe's so much, in fact, that I'm in a Facebook group dedicated to the Thanksgiving chips that come out at Trader Joe's every year. And they're like turkey and stuffing chips. They're so good, and there's a whole group on Facebook dedicated to them. I don't think that's supposed to be a secret. I don't want to get kicked out the group. I really love being in the group. We post a lot of pictures of food, so I'm very hungry. I've been wanting to do this for a while, like I said. But also, this is exciting for me because I've been taking a real look. Don't let this fool you. Like, I've been taking a real look at my health and fitness lately, and I wanted to have a better relationship with food and my body in general. So this is my cheat day. Throughout the week, I'm eating kale and spinach and a lot of salmon, which I love, so I'm absolutely not complaining, but I'm definitely splurging today, and the things that I don't finish, I will pack up and save for my boyfriend because he will definitely eat them. You know what I'm gonna try? Is egg roll. Oh, egg roll. I have my sweet and sour sauce over here. Mmm. 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 Let me try these gyoza. I don't have chopsticks. I'm gonna eat with my hands. I'm sorry. Sorry. And I am very hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Sip, sip. Oh, the noodles. Oh, it's been a while. Hello, old friend. Are you so spicy? Okay. So I wanted to talk about in my oh, excuse me, am I gonna be burping this video? I'm sorry. I wanted to talk just about toxic jobs. I have a whole list of videos that I want to do, and I keep it like in Google Drive, but I have a whole list of videos that I want to do and kind of like points that I want to touch on, and the title for this one was Toxic Jobs and Demon Bosses, because I have had some real demon bosses in my long job career. I've been working since I was 14 years old. My very first job, I worked at a daycare called Children of the Rainbow here in San Diego. That was not a toxic job, and I did not have a demon boss, but I've been working for a very long time. But that was my very first job, working in a daycare. After that, I worked for the city of San Diego as a lifeguard for 5 years. And that, to me, was always weird because, like, at 15, you can't apply for a job at most places. You can't apply for, I mean, this was back then. I don't know about now because I'm not 15 anymore. But you couldn't apply for a job at most places. You couldn't work retail, couldn't do anything like that. But I wasn't a junior lifeguard. I was a full-fledged lifeguard for the city of San Diego, and I did that for 5 years. That was an interesting job. And I wouldn't even call that a toxic job either, but that job had its own challenges. Like, one, like, I was a child being put in charge of other children. And during the summer when you worked as a lifeguard, you had the option of working at portable pools. It's so good. And portable pools were basically like 3 foot deep and pretty long, maybe like 15 yards or so. And they specifically put them in neighborhoods with like underprivileged children, so the ghetto. And they found that, you know, according to studies, children from those areas were more likely to drown when they went to the beach, when they went to public pools and things like that. So the portable pool program was there to kind of give those children a chance to learn how to swim and take free swim lessons during the summer, and that way they weren't susceptible to drowning if they went out swimming otherwise. So for the most part, it was teaching a lot of swim lessons during the summer, and then we would have some time for free swim and all the fun stuff. I did that for 5 years during the summer and during the off season at regular pools. And the only real challenge at that job, besides my really creepy coworker Gabriel, who would hit on me a lot. He was 19 and I was 15, and like obviously at the time I didn't realize how creepy that was. But the bad thing about that is, like, working in the hood, there were some challenges, and like the biggest one was, you know, as a lifeguard, if you've ever seen something like Baitwatch, the red swimsuits are real. So wearing a lot of red and white in the wrong neighborhood caused some problems. I have to explain, like, yo, I work for the city. I'm not really in control of what I wear. I really don't want any trouble. Who has to deal with that? And there was that one summer, because we were outside at rec centers and things like that, sometimes there were porta potties nearby. They absolutely found a dead body in the porta potty one year of someone that had overdosed, which was very sad and very scary. So that was a very interesting job, and I did it for 5 years, but very unique challenges. But being a lifeguard was cool. That wasn't a toxic job, though. And really, I have jobs on the mind right now, on my mind, because I was actually just fired last month. It happens. But I had a job that I had been with for a year that started off in LA, and I was able to transition into a remote position when I moved back down to San Diego. And out of nowhere, they really fired me out of nowhere. With this job, there were a lot of blessings that came along with it, so I can't even call that job toxic, but it was difficult. With this job, I hired in just as a regular employee, whatever. And because I'm always on social media, I noticed that when they ran into problems with their permits, that people weren't being given answers. So on Instagram in particular, they were asking questions and basically voicing that they had been writing in and things like that, and no one had gotten back to them, and people were really upset. So I went to the executive team and told them that I had a lot of experience with customer service from my time at Disneyland, and I would be able to help them if that was something that they wanted. And they did. And so I was promoted to the customer service manager, which I was all about. I'm actually really good at customer service, and that's from the time that I spent working at Disneyland as a tour guide. Because when you're a tour guide, before you even give tours, you know, in guest relations, you work in City Hall, you work in Lost and Found. And City Hall at Disneyland is basically the complaint department. Everyone that comes in with an issue, they go to City Hall to let their issues be known. It could be something, you know, big concerning accessibility or you know, something really bad that happened in their day. Or it can be like, we would have all types of people come in with their complaints. Like, I bought the churro and I ate the churro, but the churro was nasty, so I want my money back. Like, all kinds of complaints that you have to deal with and kind of field, and people trying to work the system. Just anything under the sun you could think of at Disneyland. That's what you deal with at guest relations before you even get to the tour guide part of being a tour guide. You deal a lot with customer service and people's complaints and things like that. So, and I really enjoyed my time because I like problem solving and I like helping people. So Disneyland was dope because literally your job for that role in City Hall and at guest relations is to help people. Listen to their complaint. If they're not trying to work the system and screw you over, fix it. So, using that experience, because Disney carries such a reputation for customer service, the executive team for my previous job trusted me with that and let me develop the customer service model and take over responding to those messages that were being ignored. Because this place was the type of business that went from city to city, it was like one of those pop-ups that went around. I kept my job even when they left the city. I moved down to San Diego and was able to work remotely. The big difficulty with that job was that there wasn't a whole lot of communication between the executive team and me. So rather than being told like, okay, these are the new dates that we're opening, this is what's happening, this is our new policy, I wouldn't find out sometimes until someone either asked me a question directly that I didn't know the answer to, so I would have to do the research myself, or I just happened to be signed up to the newsletter that they released to anyone that signed up on the website. So I would get that newsletter to my personal email, and then that's when I would be cued in on some new information, or being on social media and seeing the social media team announce something, that's when I would know that there had been a policy change of some sort. But randomly, out of nowhere, after about a year, we had a weekly meeting. So a weekly meeting, and my boss tells me, okay, we're going to have to let you go. It's because of your performance. And I'm just like, we've had weekly meetings, and for every meeting, you've praised me on my performance, and you've told me what a good job I'm doing, how you want me to develop a bigger customer service program to integrate more employees to give me some type of support. Because I should also mention that on this job, I was working part-time, but the only reason it was part-time was basically so that they didn't have to give me the benefits that came along with working full-time. And that's on me because I let that slide. Working remotely really fit me and my life, and the fact that I was able to stay in my city, and when it went to San Francisco, when it went to New York, as it was going to Miami and different cities, I could stay where I was and still work from home. Basically, I was okay with it. But in actuality, the job wasn't part-time. I was the only person answering email. Every email that came in from multiple emails, I was the one person answering the emails. Any customer service related question that came in through Facebook or Twitter or through Yelp or through Google Business or through Facebook, I was the person that would answer that. That was actually fun in some regards, because sometimes people would be like, oh, I spoke to them on Facebook and they said this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, oh, really? Is that what they said? Because that was also me. It was all me. It's all me. But that meant that it wasn't a part-time job. If I ever took my actual days off that they gave me, Tuesdays and Sundays, not even 2 days in a row, people lost their mind because they wouldn't hear answers. They wouldn't hear an answer from somebody. So I was told that, you know, to go ahead and take these days off. It'll be okay. Someone from the executive team will take a look at those emails. No one ever did. So when I log back in to do some work, I have a whole bunch of angry emails because they hadn't heard from someone for a day. So I took it upon myself to check, not only on the days that I was working, I would check those emails, but then also when it was technically my day off or in the evening after I had already clocked out, I'm still checking in and answering emails so that people wouldn't have to wait. I informed my boss that, you know, you have been giving me all of this great feedback, and yeah, we want you to come in, we want you to develop a whole system, We want you to train the new groups of people coming in for customer service, da, da, da. If suddenly I'm being fired for my performance, why have you been gassing me up this whole time and telling me what a great job I'm doing? And he was silent. He was like, well, you're not wrong. It's just too hard to have a remote employee. Well, I'm like, okay, well, say that. That's something out of my control. But don't try to blame it on my performance when that's not what it was. So that wasn't really a toxic job, but that situation was just whack. I'm not even really eating this. Let me eat some. That was frustrating. You want some of this egg roll? I saw that in a different mukbang video. I'm sorry. I wouldn't even describe that as a toxic job, because I've had like legit crazy toxic jobs. One job that I worked in LA after leaving Disneyland was for a nightlife company. And basically this company, they booked nighttime events, so nighttime cruises, different events at clubs, so bottle service and things like that, Halloween events, any holiday you can think of. And there were bar crawls, pub crawls every weekend. I think that I found them on Craigslist when I was working in North Hollywood. And they were looking for people to handle customer service type inquiries. And there's already a system in place. But helping people with their tickets, helping people, you know, just basic stuff with the company and these nighttime events. They were located in Hollywood. And shortly after starting this job, and this is what has happened sometimes in my career, shortly after starting this job, I was put in charge and became the customer service manager, which was not something that I necessarily asked for. They just recognized or wanted to take advantage of the fact that I was good at my job. And when I have a job, I'm going to give my all to it because, you know, that's what, you know, I thought that you did for jobs. You give 100% or whatever. But this work environment was so incredibly toxic and damaging. Like, I'm surprised that I lasted as long as I did. This woman that was my boss, she was so, I guess I would describe her as high strung. But she would come in, her husband was the one that owned the company. And I had heard some things about him being slimy and kind of weird. I didn't see nothing, so I didn't care about any of that. I don't know. Towards the end of my time there, I could see what people were talking about because I would witness them have their little marital spats like at the office, which was super awkward for everybody. But mostly I dealt with her, and I'm not sure what her exact role was in the company. I know that she was one of the owners, but it kind of felt like everything that she put her hand in only got worse because of her involvement. She was just all over the place and would come bursting into the office randomly and say, "We have this event. Is everything happening the way that it needs to?" Just super hyped, super paranoid, super everything. To the point where she was a big musical theater person. And because I'm a musical theater person, so bizarre. And as I'm telling the story, I'm realizing just how really bizarre it was. She would get really anxious and start to like show symptoms of having a panic attack. I would sing the first couple of lines from take me or leave me from Rent, from Joanne's verse. You know, the I look before I leap, I love margins and discipline. And she would start breathing hard. She's, yes. And she would start singing with me, but that was legitimately the way I would calm her down, by singing from a Broadway musical. And she would just be so happy and just like be all into it, and that would calm her down. And I really should have left that job a whole lot sooner. I didn't ask to be put in charge at that job. I think I did get a pay raise when she expressed that she wanted me to take over the customer service, but it was just a whole lot of extra work for not a really good reason. And every holiday, because this was a nighttime company that did like holiday events like Halloween and New Year's Eve, rather than going out and enjoying these events that I'm managing, I have to make sure that the night of, when people are calling and asking questions about parking or ticketing or things like that, or any issue that comes up, I have to stay in the office as late as midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, just making sure that everything ran smoothly. Just me, by myself. And this was on the Hollywood Strip, so I could look out the office window and see where one of the parties is going on and not being able to be a part of it. And not to mention just some of the people that she was really happy to work with there, that had been with the company for a long time. Super racist, super racist. There were big issues in that company. One of the people in my department, super amazing girl who's my friend to this day, had dreadlocks. She kept them clean. They were nice, everything. But someone said something about them that was just disgusting and not kind. And it was a whole bad situation. I remember one time, and this was like a couple years ago, so forgive me if I'm not giving exact details of everything that happened. But part of this I also blocked out from my memory because I'm traumatized. I remember, because if I see something that's shady or wrong, I'm going to call it out, regardless of what people say about me. Like, if something's wrong, I'm going to say something about it. And when someone in my department, because suddenly I'm in this manager position, if someone comes to me and tells me that they've been treated badly, it's my job to address it. Probably now, being older and wiser, I might have approached it differently, or might have said something along the lines of like, yo, this is kind of above my pay grade, I need someone else to handle it. But no one was really looking out for the employees there, so that fell to me. I remember one day the head of HR, who was in another office down the hall, called me a and it took 2 people stopping me, physically holding me back. One person, who I think it might have been that girl, but the other person was one of my good friends, Devin, had to physically hold me back because I was marching down that hall to speak with the head of HR, to tell her that if she wanted to call me a she could tell me that directly to my face and we could handle it from there. They had to drag me back to my office. Ultimately, in that office, the owner of the company installed a camera directly behind my desk. And I don't know what the view is. I don't know if you could see me. I don't know if she was looking at my computer. I'm not even eating. But she was directly behind my desk. So I would just take to like in the office, whenever something wild would happen, I would just turn around and just look. Because when I say this woman would burst in, clothing falling off her body. One time her whole titty was out because she just ran into the office in such a panic over nothing at all. It was crazy working there. That place was also the spot that I met someone that I dated for a while who ended up being super abusive. And I can talk about it lightly now, but that was one of the most traumatizing relationships I've ever had. And if you ever see me post about like very toxic or abusive or emotionally damaging relationships, that's where I met that dude. And it was just all types of bad. Let me get more into this. My food getting cold. Mmm. Mm. Look, I haven't even touched these noodles because you already know why'd I even make these. I'm already getting full. And the only reason that I'm not mad about my Hello Kitty soy sauce being gone is because I found it on Amazon already. That's fine. I'll just get another one. One of the other very like super bizarre toxic jobs that I have randomly. So you know, like hand models and foot models, those are totally real. And they're way more common than you would ever think. Because a lot of like big Hollywood productions, they'll use hand models. So say like Meryl Streep does a movie, but then they have to go in for like tight shots of her hand going and opening a door. They're not going to pay Meryl Streep's $1 million a day or whatever rate for her to go and open a door. They're going to find a hand model with hands similar to Meryl Streep and pay them a much cheaper rate to go film those shots as well. Or anytime you see like a McDonald's commercial and it's just like a hand holding a cup of coffee or something like that, there's an actual agency that they go through to hire those specific models. And I became a booking agent and an agent for those type of jobs very randomly. The woman that I worked for was a former leg model herself, and she was like really famous back in the day, and ended up starting her career or whatever. And I think I can honestly say that was the worst job I've ever had. Traumatizing. For one, I look at everyone's hands and feet and neck and ears and hair much differently now than I ever would have if I had not worked this job. Because I've had to stare at these body parts in detail to book them for jobs and negotiate contracts. But at some point of working that job, I was just in that office by myself a lot, answering phones, answering emails, and negotiating these contracts, writing up agreements, getting in touch with models, navigating their calendars, coordinating that, making sure that they didn't have any conflicts, getting them to the job sites, everything. Oh, and coordinating whenever we needed new models to come in, because for whatever reason, this woman wanted to have open calls every couple months, like every 6 weeks. I forgot how often it was, but like she always wanted to have open calls, even though we had an entire backlog of models that we've never even used and thought that they were going to get some kind of deal with us. Crazy. I eventually learned that part of the way she was funding her company was having these models come in, gassing them up, promising them this career, having them pay to do a photo shoot, because she insisted they couldn't use, if they already had a little bit of a career and had their own hair shots, because they like shampoo commercials with hair, that's the type of stuff we would book. If they had their own reel or their own photo, their own shots or whatever, she wanted them to retake them using her specific photographer, claiming that it was the format she wanted and she knew so much because she had been in the industry for however many years. But really, it was a way to get money from people. It was so shady. I didn't know a lot about that industry, so I didn't know. And luckily, it wasn't me pressing this onto people, but witnessing that and eventually catching on and just being like, no, yeah, that's like hella shady. She had like really strict rules, even if, and this was when I was pursuing a career of my own. So even if I fit the exact requirements of a model they needed for a job, as far as hands or as far as like feet, just the look of the foot, the color of the foot, the size of the foot for different shoes and things like that, because anytime you see just pictures of shoes or accessories, that's also stuff that we booked. She would get so adamant about me not doing those jobs and me staying in the office, to the point where I'm the only person in the office. Like most of the days out of the week, I was the only person in the office just by myself most of the time. I think the tech guy kind of took pity on me because he would just pop up in the office even though he didn't need to. He would work remotely. He was a really nice guy. But he would just be in the office so that I wouldn't have to be there by myself. Or if for whatever reason my boss came in, I wouldn't have to deal with her by myself. She wasn't in the office that often. She was at home. It would take her, if she said that she would be there at 1 o'clock, she would actually be there around 4:30 for whatever reason. She didn't drive because it turned out that she had lost her license permanently because of a DUI. And like, get into this, a DUI where she had actually killed somebody a few years prior. A maid that was a person of color, woman of color, was walking down the street in her neighborhood. My ex-boss was driving drunk, hit a light post, which fell and hit a woman and killed her. And rather than going to jail or serving any type of time, she just got her license permanently revoked. And for her, it gave her like, she didn't take that as a, yo, I need to change my life, I need to do something different. Clearly my decisions are ruining the lives and ending the lives of other people. She would just be drunk all the time. She was an alcoholic. And in my heart, I felt sympathy for her because I give people the benefit of the doubt. But anytime I gave her the benefit of the doubt, she showed me that she was not deserving of that. She was drunk all the time. The bar down the street, they knew her by name. And not like Cheers, where everybody knows your name because they're so friendly. It's like, no, here she comes, staggering down the street. She's going to hang out here for a couple of hours, and then she's going to toddle on back to her office. It was just a very awkward situation to be in. It was a job I needed to stay in because I was living in Hollywood. I needed money, and it was a regular paycheck. But she was abrasive and abusive and very strange. One time I was in the office later than I was supposed to be, but doing a whole bunch of work. Because I wasn't ever paid overtime either. That was a full-time job. I wasn't ever paid overtime. It was more just like, work until it's finished, even if you're clocking out at 5 o'clock. Just keep working. And because it was in like this terrible area of Hollywood, not a bad area off of Wilshire, but if you're leaving at 5 o'clock, you're going to sit in traffic for an hour. So sometimes it was a matter of just finishing up the work there because it was easier than sitting in traffic for an hour to go home. I remember one time she burst into the office with this guy, and it was clear. It was 100% clear that she did not expect me to be there. Because when she showed up with that man that was not her husband, she was shocked. She was surprised. And then she ushered me out of the office very, very quickly while they stayed behind to do God knows what. All I know is that when I came into the office the next day, I wiped down every surface. Every surface had to be cleaned. She would have meetings at her house, poolside. I refused those. I would refuse to go over to her house. And that's something that the other people that were sometimes in the office, the person that hired me on, or the tech guy who had been working with her for years, they warned me straight up, like, if she ever tells you to come over to her house for something, don't refuse. Find a way to not do it. Don't go over to her house because weird stuff goes on there. And so, I mean, a couple of times I did have to go over there. But just bizarre, just really bizarre and really weird. I think the worst part of that job was there was one model in particular who she loved like a little niece or a little daughter or whatever that had been with her for years. And this model, who I hope I never catch in the street, she was upset because she wasn't booking jobs as regularly as she felt she should have been. Or she would book jobs, but, you know, a telltale sign of the models, you know, you can tell how someone was as far as their behavior on set. Because if a company liked you, they would have you come back. Like, they want to work with people that they know. So if a company works with a model and then they have another project come out, more often than not, they're going to request the same model. And that's how a lot of the jobs actually got booked. Like, oh, we've worked with XX model before. Send us her again. Is she still available? And a lot of it was just navigating to see if that model still had the availability. And they would love to work with the same company again because, you know, easy paycheck. She never rebooked the jobs. So she had a great reel. She had great pictures and headshots and the different parts that, you know, go for jobs, but no one ever wanted to book her twice. And eventually her bookings kind of slowed down, which she wanted to blame on me. And I'm just like, I'm doing my job. You're the first person. I have always considered you to be reliable, and I know your track record, so I'm going to send you out on jobs. I have no reason not to. It's not up to me whether or not they want to rebook you. So don't blame me. Come to find out, the only reason she was getting so many jobs before is because the booking agent that was there before I was, she had a little agreement on the side. An agreement on the side in the back office. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't help her with that. But she took that up with the boss and you need to book her more. And I can't make someone book someone else. She was looking to hire, my boss was looking to hire someone else to come in and also do booking anyway, which I was fine with because my workload was crazy. I couldn't do anything as far as free time because I'm always working at this job and doing so much that she ended up hiring this model's boyfriend, which to me was just weird in the first place and kind of a conflict of interest. He at some point, and this is why, like, don't trust anybody on your job. Your coworkers are not your friends. And there was a lot of stuff about this model I didn't know at the time. But I saw that this model's boyfriend who had come in was very busy doing a lot of stuff for the boss, like a lot of extra things, and he was kind of feeling worn down. So one day I told him, like, hey, take care of yourself first, and some of the stuff that she's asking you to do, if it's too much, let her know, because she tends to put a lot of work on people and she tends to not be very appreciative of it, or what she asks for will change and she'll blame you for it not being right, when in reality she changed her mind midway through or was so drunk that she didn't remember what she asked for in the first place. I said it a lot nicer than that. This was a couple years ago, but I'm professional at work. But I also was honest with him. Turns out he was recording me and recording the things that I was saying and would go back and play it for the boss. She came to me and told me, well, he recorded you saying this, that, and the other. Why would you tell someone that? Which, sure, you can argue, sure, maybe that's my fault. I asked him one day and I was like, hey, so did you record me without my knowledge, which is illegal in the state of California? He's lying, saying, no, why would I do that? And he became so scared of me after that moment. I don't think that I'm a scary person, but he was frightened after that. It was crazy. But I'm like, she has no loyalty. Like, clearly she had no problem telling me that you were the one that was recording me. So if I do take this to court, best believe that you're the one that I'm going to call in. I decided not to pursue that because for what reason? Like, people are evil and sometimes don't pay for it, so whatever. It wasn't worth it in the end. But that was just the type of crap that I had to deal with. I had to fight for a pay raise after all of the work that I had to do. I had to fight for basic things. I was in an office by myself 8 hours a day, sometimes longer, alone, which if you were following me, people that were following me on Instagram at the time, they got the best of my Insta stories because besides the work, that's all I had was talking to people on Instagram. So that was just one of the most incredibly toxic jobs until finally I had enough. I eventually left that job. She tried to blame me for something that was going on, and I stood up for myself and told her that I wasn't going to stand for her speaking to me that way. And she was like, well, I'm not going to have someone working for me that just talks to me like this. Mind you, I was not rude in the slightest, but she was a very entitled, drunk woman who felt that she would be able to talk to anyone any type of way that she wanted to, and I wasn't going to stand for that any longer. Because for me, I just think, you know, this was a couple of years ago. I don't know what my threshold for putting up with bull is these days. I think it's a lot less than it used to be because I'm older and wiser now. But at some point, I had reached my limit and told her, like, this that happened is not my fault. I'm not going to accept blame for it, but I am willing to work to find a solution. But this was not my doing. You told me to do X, Y, Z. Now you're saying A, B, C. That's not on me. And she was just like, well, I can't have someone working for me that way, you're fired. And I was like, well, okay. She called me back that evening to rehire me back because the work needed to be done. And I told her no. So it was just a lot of back and forth, a lot of flippity-flapping, just like that. And leaving that job, even though it put me in a scary financial situation living in Hollywood, it was such a breath of fresh air just getting away from that. I think I'm pretty full. I made so much food and got through so little. It was a terrible first mukbang. That's okay. My baby will be very happy. Yeah, I'm full. But I just had a couple of interviews recently, which is why my nose ring is gone. I don't even feel like myself, but obviously I have to get a job. After a year of working from home, over a year, it's going to be really weird to have to report somewhere. But send out good vibes because I actually do really want this job. It is back in a guest relations position, which I like because, like I mentioned earlier, I like helping people. I like problem solving. I even like the problematic people that come with difficult situations that I get to solve. So here's to that. Why'd I make so much food? Wow. I asked my niece before I recorded this if there was anything she wanted me to mention about toxic workplaces. She did say, which I thought was a very good point, if you ever go into a job and they say, we're like family here, that they're basically going to screw you over. And that is totally true. Every job I've had where they're like, we're a real family environment, that means that they want a whole lot of work from you without giving you what you need or compensating you properly. So for all the youngins following me, entering the workforce, I guess my advice would be, like, yeah, you have to work, you have to make money, you have to be adult about some things, but don't let yourself get taken advantage of. That's the biggest thing. Like, don't let people walk over you. Don't let people mistreat you at work because your job, they need you just like you need them. And you are not, I don't want to say that you are replaceable. They can find another employee to do that job. You can also find another job to give you what you need. And I don't want people to stay in toxic situations, because looking back on my job history, and especially those jobs that I held when I was in LA after leaving Disneyland, they contributed so much to just a downward spiral. They just contributed so much to a downward spiral of depression and anxiety that I'm still working through to this day. So work the job, be mature, be responsible. Not every job is going to be pixie dust and all of that good stuff, but don't let yourself be taken advantage of. Don't let yourself stay in a toxic situation, I guess, would be my big piece of advice from that. I've had more happy job situations than I've had bad job situations, and any situation that I had, that's a lot of situations, any situation that I've had in my life that's been unfavorable has either led to a great story to tell later on, or it's been a learning experience where I can grow from it, or there was a lesson that I could have from it. So I can't really complain. I've survived every situation that I've had in my life thus far, and I will continue to do so. So that's that. I am going to pack up this food, and my boyfriend's going to be super happy. I told him what I was going to be eating for tonight's mukbang, and he was like, well, you know, them leftovers, you know what to do, and I'm going to do that for you, babe. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm probably going to do more of these. I'll get better at them, I promise. You can also find me on Instagram at TiffyStarChild, where I do post daily. I hope that you have a great night, and I will see you next time.